Mars. Here we are, heading towards the great Rubicund planet. The fourth planet from our Sun, the blood-red sphere named after the Roman god of war, is striking to observe. We begin our Martian tour by first visiting its two moons, Phobos and its smaller counterpart Deimos, which were named after the sons of the Greek god of war, panic, and fear. Both moons are thought to be asteroids, captured by the gravitational pull of Mars. We have our first glimpse of Deimos as it transits across the face of Mars. Deimos is the smaller of the two brother moons. Its bizarre, distorted shape can be likened to that of a misshaped pear. It is thought that this strange shape is due to the fact that being so small, it does not possess enough gravity to mold itself into a sphere. Other than this, it is fairly unremarkable, apart from its craters named after Swift and Voltaire, who predicted the presence of moons around Mars, many years before any evidence of their existence. We now visit Phobos. This odd-looking potato-like structure has incredibly low density and it is thought that it may be completely hollow. It is the darkest non-reflective object in the solar system, and things look rather bleak for its future. It is orbiting ever closer to its namesake father, and is predicted to hurtle into it in about 50 million years, give or take. And if that wasn't enough, the deep groves along its surface suggest it is already showing signs of breaking up. Closer inspection of Phobos shows that it has something missing. There is a large chunk that is no longer there on this tiny moon, which is only 11 miles across, and it is thought to have broken away, on impact with some larger object. Take a good last look at it, it may not be around for much longer. Now let's turn our attention to the main act. Mars. First impression shows a largely smooth surface covering most of the northern region. The southern region does however contain craters and highlands, and we shall visit this area first. The remarkable color comes from an underlying layer of basaltic rock, covered in a thin layer of rust-like dust. This dust can be thrown up into dramatic dust storms that can cover the planet for days on end, and are thought to be the largest in the solar system. Our first port of call will be an enormous crater, thought to be over 3.5 billion years old. Gale Crater. It was formed when a meteor hit Mars during the early formation of the solar system. This unique and mystifying edifice, on first examination, is a complete puzzle. How does a mountain come to be situated in a 96-mile wide impact crater? The answer is in fact fairly simple. Sediments are believed to have formed within this vast crater, and then the fierce and relentless Martian winds carved these sediments into a 3-mile-high mountain-like structure. rover Curiosity, which landed in 2012, and has since explored this crater in detail, has confirmed a long-held belief that water had indeed filled this huge crater. Although smooth from a distance, on closer inspection, the surface of Mars appears to have structures, channels, and valleys that appear like islands, but without the water that should surround them. Long gone, the atmosphere too thin to support water, the constructions that they once formed and forged their way through, stand alone. At the polar caps of the planet, we can see patches of white. These are layers of water ice, that have melted and reformed, and are now covered in a veil of dry ice, or frozen carbon dioxide, striking against the crimson background.
Mars. Mars is a terrestrial planet with a thin atmosphere.
The resplendent Olympus Mons, the highest mountain in the solar system.
The atmosphere is
Elevating up at a
composed
distance
primarily
of
of carbon
88,000 feet,
dioxide.
it is so enormous that it reaches above and beyond the edges of the atmosphere.
The rotational period and seasonal cycles of Mars are similar to those of Earth.
The craters and pits that are part of this extraordinary structure are formed by the lava that erupted up from its 53-mile-across caldera. Although it has been dormant for a long time, it is thought that it may once again surprise, and once more explode spectacularly.
Mars has two moons,
Not only is Mars
Phobos
geographically
and Deimos,
closest to Earth,
which are small
it
and
also
irregularly
shares
shaped.
similarities in length of day,
These may
just
be
40
captured
minutes
asteroids.
longer, and the division of seasons. However, the winter and summers of Mars have a much wider range of temperatures attributed to them than those of Earth. The atmosphere of Mars is very thin, about 100 times thinner than Earth's. This, and the fact that it is much further from the Sun, means it is much colder than Earth, with an average temperature a chilling -60 degrees centigrade. However, during the summer days, this can rise to 20 degrees. For our final stop, we take a flight through Valles Marineris. Let's swing around to set up our approach. Valles Marineris is another example of a striking structure that we can see on the iron-like surface of Mars. 3,000 kilometers long, and 600 kilometers across, over 3 times the length of the Grand Canyon, it is thought to be formed as the planet cooled and cracked, and has an impressive 10 kilometers depth. With most of the canyon currently in darkness, we are only flying the western limb. In total, it spans an imposing fifth of the circumference of the surface of this planet. It is so enormous, it can be seen from Earth through a large telescope, and appears as a dark scar. Its name is taken from NASA's Mariner 9 spacecraft, which was the first satellite to orbit another planet, in 1972. Since the time of the first probes, Mars has been a focus for planetary exploration, with dozens of successful missions, sending back remarkable scientific data. The future exploration of Mars may see man's first landing on another planet, possibly sometime in the next decade. I hope you enjoyed this tour, and come back for more, another time.